Hello, and here we are again on the 2nd of January. Welcome back to Take 5. We are so glad you could join us. We're delighted to be here, aren't we?
We are. Welcome. It's Tuesday and we're on the next part of John's Gospel, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. We are now moving on from yesterday where we read John chapter 1. Today's chapters are chapters 2 and 3.
Yes, and today we will cover a number of items. We're looking at Jesus changing water into wine. We're looking at Jesus clearing the temple and reading about Jesus talking to that famous conversation with the Pharisee Nicodemus, where Jesus, Nicodemus says to Jesus, "How can I be born again?" Very well known. But the thing we're going to focus in on is Jesus changing water into wine, and this is the first, as John writes, the first sign. And through his Gospels, as we go through in the devotional Take Fives, pick out the different signs that John uses to point towards the divinity of Jesus. And this is the first of the 7 signs in his Gospel.
Yes, and what's this story of Jesus is interesting in that it's much more low-key than...
It kind of happens behind the scenes, doesn't it? It's not the...
It's not flashy.
In-your-face healing.
No, it is... It's kind of just all happening
in the background,
behind the scenes.
Yeah.
A lot of people at the wedding have no idea what's going on. There's very few people that actually know what's happening here. And of course Mary starts it when she realises that they're running out of wine. And she comes to Jesus with this problem. And as we know, he actually says to her, "Woman, why do you involve me? My hour has not yet come." It's sort of interesting in that we should perhaps expect God to do great things, but maybe not tell him how to do it.
I love the way. I mean, I'm a fan of The Chosen. If you haven't seen The Chosen, I really recommend it. But the one episode where they do the changing the water into wine is brilliantly done, and it had me captivated. The way they brought it to life. But that's a little aside if you haven't seen it. It's fabulous. But here, like Julie says, this quiet miracle, if you like, happens very much unseen by a lot of the people who actually benefit from the changing of the water into the wine. And so we get Mary asking Jesus and Jesus' response, and then Jesus tells the servant to go away and do this, get the water. And what's really interesting is what happens next, isn't it? Well, the servant just does it. Yeah.
He does exactly as Jesus says. He goes and fills the water, and then he says, "Draw it and take it to the
Master of
ceremonies." Yes. And he does exactly that, knowing
that he's just been and filled it with
water.
I mean, it's almost blind faith, isn't it?
It absolutely is.
But it's certainly a high level of obedience. He was a servant, so a servant is used to getting instructions and being told what to do. But I just think of what a tremendous reward for everybody because of this particular servant, or maybe it was 2 of them carrying the flask.
Yes. Yep.
These servants' attitude and obedience, really.
Yeah. So when God tells you to do something, you should jolly well go on and do it.
Look at the outcome.
Yes.
So maybe that's today's devotional lesson for us, is to hear God's voice and to walk in obedience, just to get on and do it, not to ask questions, not to shilly-shally around, not to put up obstructions and reasons against it. I mean, the servant, I'm sure, could have come up with a million reasons at that point.
Yes.
Water? Really? You're kidding me. But he didn't. No. He just did it. So let's just do it. Let's get out there and do what God's telling us to do. So have a great Tuesday, and we'll be back tomorrow with John chapter
4.
It will be. It follows on, doesn't it?
It does.
Have a lovely day.
Bye.